Good morning, everybody. We are live. It is Friday morning. Happy Friday. It is a stunningly gorgeous day in Lakewood Ranch. Cheers to you. My name is Adam Miller with the 941 Lifestyle Group. So, yeah, this time of year, actually, end of April, early May, it's kind of like the quiet before the storm. Just beautiful weather. Actually, yesterday was warm. Yesterday was in like the mid 80s. That is not why we're here. Today, I'm going to do a special live stream. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this every week, but just do me a big favor. If you are watching live, drop a comment down below. Let us know where you are watching from. Let us know if you have questions or comments. I know that you do, because today's topic is talking about Florida's migration boom losing steam. Now, I've been kind of testing this out on social media. You can imagine how the comments are. And against popular belief, I'm still hanging on to that little teeny bit of sliver of hope we can have an intelligent conversation about this topic. I've not been having very good luck on social media about having intelligent conversations. Now, how do I say this? Yeah, I'm pretty opinionated. My opinion definitely tends to go towards neither side of the aisle. So I'm kind of used to people not agreeing with me, but this one has to do with Florida, where I live, and my community, where I live. So just expressing your opinion and your frustration and your anger, you are certainly, absolutely, positively entitled to it. That seems to be what social media has become. But this one, I would like to talk about having like an honest adult conversation where we actually have not necessarily disagreements, but like a plan in place, because we're talking about people leaving Florida and just saying, fine, get out of here. We don't need you. That's not really a strategy. That is more about how you feel. So we're going to talk about something today that folks aren't necessarily ready to admit, that Florida's migration boom, it's not over, but it's definitely slowing down. And it's definitely already affecting home prices. So some people obviously are happy about it. Some people are angry. Some people are just leaving the state completely priced out, just over it. So today I want to talk about this article. I want to talk about what the shift means for all of us. When I say all of us in the state of Florida, um, and then specifically in Lakewood Ranch, Sarasota, Manatee County, because we are definitely seeing um, the impact of it. So are you with me? All right, so let me share my screen. I want to read this article that just came out the other day. Super intriguing. All right, share screen. Boom, there it is. All right, so let's read this little article there. Can you see it on the screen? You can see it on the screen. So Florida's migration boom loses steam, putting pressure on home prices. For sure. So the population influx, let me read from this. So the population influx that Florida experienced after the COVID-19 pandemic has started to slow down dramatically, with big implications on the state's housing market. Show of hands, who's seeing that in Florida? I am, for sure. So while people are still moving into the Sunshine State, more people are moving into the state than out of the state. The net increase has shrunk massively. I saw these numbers. It is mind blowing. So last year, Florida gained just 64,017 new residents from their domestic migration, which means the total number of people moving from another state minus the total number of people moving out of the state. Look at this. That is down from 185,000 in 2023 and 314,000 in 2022. That is just insane. That's from the U.S. Census Bureau. That is a lot of people who moved here, a tremendous amount. So housing experts say that Florida's high home insurance costs, driven by elevated natural disaster risks in the state. As you recall, we had not one, not two, but three back-to-back hurricanes here. We were just out in the beach area. I can't believe how decimated it still is up and down the coast, not even just in this area. We were down in Fort Myers, Bonita Springs. Man, that area just hit hard. As well, Florida has become one of the highest ratio of home prices to local incomes in the South, making it relatively less affordable than many of its neighbors. Now, I've known this, had topics about this before too, about the income levels in Florida. The downsides to being a state that focuses on attracting retirees, which is great. Don't get me wrong; it's a big part of our business. But we need businesses that are bringing high-paying jobs, like they are in California. Say what you want about California, Texas, Austin, Texas, right? Those giant tech companies are not coming to Florida. which is a massive issue because the state needs to have more than just old people moving to the state. We need younger people to stay in the state, first of all, and younger people to move in the state. Why? Because there's jobs. And the vast majority of jobs, which is true in the States, are tourism based or retail. That is tough for the economy. Anyway, so last month, home shopping traffic from realtor.com showed that just 38.5% of viewers of Florida home listings were from other states, compared with 45% in February 2024 and 50.4% in February 2023. So in the past year or so, home shopping for properties in Florida by shoppers outside of the Sunshine State has dwindled. I am seeing it firsthand. We know that the vast majority of people who are buying in this area are coming from out of state. The market here is definitely slowing down. We're going to go over the stats. So there are indications that other southern states, including Texas, Georgia, and the Carolinas, are grabbing some of the movers who might otherwise have considered Florida. Now we know this. We've got sellers who are moving out of this area to those states in particular. A recent analysis from Cotality, I don't know them, previously known as CoreLogic, I didn't know they switched, found that Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas are receiving 48% of mortgage applications for those moving out of the Sunshine State. Now we are seeing that firsthand. There's a whole lot of reasons, right, for that one. Red states, primarily for sure. Low taxes, a lot less cost of living, and job opportunities. Right. So Florida's rapid price appreciation combined with soaring home insurance prices and the threat of hurricanes has led people to start looking at other nearby areas. Right. So when people leave, they're staying in the South with their relative affordability as well as access to large employment centers. See that? All about the jobs. And this is not necessarily our governor's fault. It is more of a Florida, maybe Chamber of Commerce, who has always had this strategy of their goal is to attract retirees, which is great for a whole lot of reasons. But if we are not bringing businesses to this state, it's going to cause a massive issue. We are seeing it already. So in one sense, Florida might be the victim of its own success, right? How true is that? After a tidal wave of pandemic-related migration to the state, pushing its housing markets to the brink. Get a look at this. The house that we sold before we moved to Maui just got relisted and went into escrow 5 years later at more than twice as much. That's just not right. Great if you're a seller, but not great if you're a buyer. Permitting activity in the state plunged 9.7% in 22, marking the first decline since 2009. Activity fell again by 7.2% in 2023 amid labor shortages, rising material costs, and regulatory delays. Think that's going to happen again this year? Since then, price pressures from tariffs, persistently high borrowing costs have only added to pressures on developers who are hesitant to start new projects. Now, that is definitely not true here in Florida. If you follow the channel, you know that there are about 40 plus neighborhoods in Lakewood Ranch, and I want to say 20 of them are currently under construction, and that's not including the ones that are not even on the radar on the map yet. And we're going to talk about some of the builder incentives and what they're going through at the moment, because that's having a massive impact as well. All right, so Florida home prices are definitely under strain. So the disconnect between supply and demand in Florida drove some of the highest increase in home prices in the nation during the state's population boom. Now, I just did a video on my live stream, I want to say last week, and then did a video on the same topic with another real estate agent on her channel. And I'm not going to go through that again too, but the price increase in the last 5 years more than doubled in Florida. That's just insane for prices, meaning that house that was $100,000 5 years later was worth $200,000. Again, great if you're a seller, not so great if you are a buyer. So migration to Florida marks resulted in strong demand for housing and some of the highest rates of home price appreciation since the onset of the pandemic. Among the largest U.S. metro areas, Miami tops the list with some of the highest. Okay, we'll talk about that. Now there are signs that the migration slowdown is starting to ripple through Florida's housing market and putting those trends in reverse. So I don't want to talk about Tampa, but we know the Tampa market's in a lot of trouble. So Florida homes are also taking significantly longer to sell. We're going to go through the stats with the median time on the market of 73 days, more than a week longer than it was a year ago. 73 days is a long time, right? That's 2.5 months. If you are selling a house, you realize that 2.5 months is a long time. The days of being on the market for a week, 2 weeks, couple of days, those are over here. So home list prices in Florida have been steadily declining on an annual basis for nearly a year now, with February's median list price of $435,000, down 5% from the earlier year. Those numbers are down significantly more in Manatee, Sarasota. We'll talk about that. The momentum that Florida housing market picked up in the wake of the pandemic appears to be waning, with prices down and time on the market up this spring. I think that's it on the article. Okay, so that is it on this article. So what do you think? Drop a comment down below if you notice this where you live, if you are living here in Lakewood Ranch or homes on your street flying off the shelf. So I'm going to go over the stats with you, but here's where it kind of gets emotional. Because some folks who came here 2 years ago, they're definitely leaving, and not because Florida isn't great, because it's not what they expected. It's too expensive, right? So 5 years ago during the pandemic, much, much, much cheaper. It's too expensive. Say what you want. The political climate got a little insane, still is a little insane here in Florida. Remember the good old days when people didn't talk about politics? Man, wish we could just go back to that time. Because guess what? For me speaking personally, don't care who you voted for. Anyway, so insurance went through the roof, and some just didn't find their people. At the same time, some of the people who have been here for 20 years, they're definitely glad that people are leaving. Less traffic, fewer crowds, and honestly, less change. So you can love Florida and admit that some things are broken, maybe. And this is what happened when expectations and costs collide. So show of hands, did you move here and feel surprised by what it was really like? All right, so let's talk about statistics, because I think this is where kind of the rubber hits the road, right? People are leaving. There's a whole lot of issues, right? People leaving. I did a couple of videos about Canadian leaving. Say what you want. Those are realities. So I'm going to go through the stats, and then I want to try to have an honest conversation about what we can do, because I can promise you right now, just because you feel that you are glad that people are leaving because it's overcrowded, you're glad that Canadians are leaving because you don't care, that's all fine and dandy, unless it affects you immediately. And from the comments that I have seen, it's mostly people who aren't affected immediately by it. So if you have a little mom and pop shop by the beach, I'm going to gather you're probably not too happy that Canadians are leaving. If you own a restaurant in a tourist-driven area, I'm sure you are not too excited that people are moving away from the beach, visitors. So we're going to talk about that one, because by all accounts, people who are bitching, they're certainly not going to be going to those areas, certainly not going to the beach areas, tourist areas to go apply for jobs, right? We just read an article this morning too that, anyway, that's a different story. I want to go through some stats. So I have two stats for you. I'm talking about single family homes in Manatee County. Now I'm waiting for the latest statistics to come out. They're going to come out next week from the Real Estate Association of Sarasota, Manatee, but this was the last month that came out. So I want to talk about single family homes in Manatee County. I'm going to talk about the condo situation here. Now I just did a video about that one. I'm not going to rehash that one, but I think once you hear the statistics, you will understand the impact it is having on the market here. Then I want to talk about specifically what's happening in Lakewood Ranch. Now, when I say Lakewood Ranch, I'm talking about 34202, 34211. Those are the two primary zip codes in Lakewood Ranch. It's a little confusing because Bradenton and Lakewood Ranch are both tied up in that zip codes. It's hard to calculate just Lakewood Ranch. Okay, bear with me. A little cup of coffee. Let's see. A quick comment. I think Florida is somewhat insulated, but still vulnerable. Yeah, I agree. I think no matter what's happening in the state of Florida, people are still going to come here. Why? Say what you want about Florida. It's got its pluses, it's got its minuses, its pros and its cons. But generally speaking, you can see it already. People are moving to warmer states, right? You see it in Arizona, you see it in Texas, you see it in the relatively speaking Georgia, in the South, basically. But yeah, I agree. Been following you since Maui Mondays. Woohoo! Little secret, I'm going to relaunch Maui Mondays in a different matter. I don't know what it's going to look like. It's obviously not going to be real estate videos. I appreciate that one. Interesting enough, I took that channel down for a whole lot of reasons, but my videographer still has those videos, and he sent me a bunch of the B-roll the other day. So yeah, I appreciate that one. Thanks for tuning in, by the way, Newton. All right, so let's talk about the stats. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I want to go through some of the ones so that you understand what absolutely is happening here. So for single family homes in Manatee County, closed sales were down 8.6%. The median sale price is down. The average sale price is down 9.1%. My gut is telling me when the new statistics come out next week, that number is going to top 9%. The dollar volume is down 16.9%. The days on the market, median time to contract is 46 days. The median time to sell is now 95 days. And pending sales are down 5.6%. That just means that less properties are going into escrow. Our month supply of inventory is now up to 4.9. Gosh, during the pandemic, it was like in the weeks. And now basically what that means is that if no other properties got listed for sale, it would take 4.9 months to sell through all of the homes that we currently have listed. Now, the condo market is in a massive trouble. I just did a video last week about that one, doing very well, by the way. Thank you. That is a massive issue in the state of Florida. There is no sign that anything's going to be done to change it, and these numbers are going to continue to crash. So full disclosure, though, the Real Estate Association of Sarasota Manatee combines townhomes with condos, so it's a little skewed, but you'll still get the gist of it. So closed sales are down. This is Sarasota County. Because the vast majority of these are in and around the beach areas. Closed sales are down 12.2%. The median sale price is down 12.3%. The average sale price, you ready for this? The average sale price of the condo is down 21.3%. Terrible if you are a seller. Not so great if you're a buyer either, for a whole lot of reasons. The median time to contract is now up to 44 days. The median time to sell is up to 85 days. Get a look at this too. The list price to sell price, what is originally listed for, what it eventually sold for, is now down to 93.6%. Again, not great if you're a seller. That basically means you listed the house for $100,000. It sold for $93,000. I think during the pandemic, that number was over 100%, right? When people were paying. Here's where the massive issue is happening. This is happening all over the state. Even worse on South Florida, but this is West Florida. The month supply of inventory for condos, 9.1 months. That is trouble. I had 2 spec properties on the market for almost 30 days, not even a nibble. Yeah, that is not surprising. I had a conversation yesterday with the seller wanting to know why, well, we had an offer. Why we're not having any offers and we're on the market for like 40 days. So when I pulled up the stats and showed him what was happening in Manatee County, right? Manatee County, the median time to sell is 95 days. In Lakewood Ranch, it was like 100 days. He's like, oh, that makes more sense. Still not happy about it, but that is just kind of the reality that we're in. All right. So I pulled up the statistics right before getting on here. And in the past 7 days, in our multiple listing service, this is not just Sarasota and Manatee County, there were 1,072 new listings to get listed in the last week. Get a load of this. 1,791 properties dropped their price, lowered their price. Why? Because the market rejected that price. That number, gosh, I've been doing this live stream for about a little over a year. That number, I reviewed that number in every live stream. That number was like 300s, 400s. Now it's 1,791. Only 549 properties sold. Do the math on that one. If there is 1,072 new listings and only 549 are selling per week, that's increase in inventory, which gives buyers great opportunity, right? Because there's more competition, makes it really challenging for sellers who now have to compete with tons of new properties on the market and new construction. We're going to talk about that too. And in the last 7 days, 106 properties expired. That means they failed to sell. In all honesty, you've heard me say before too, there's one reason and one reason only that a property fails to sell, and that is the price. I jokingly have said for well over a decade, a house that's on the highway will sell for the right price. So if it expires, that just means that the seller was not willing to come down to a price that was going to cause it to sell. All right, so let's talk about Lakewood Ranch. Now, again, it's difficult to pull out stats specifically for Lakewood Ranch just because those the multiple listing service does not separate them out. They just do them by zip codes. So the primary zip codes in Lakewood Ranch are 34202, 34211. So in the last week, 108 price adjustments in the last week, single family homes only. And the days on the market, the average now is 121 days on the market. That's insane. The highest being 352 days on the market. That means a house sat on the market for at least 352 days. And then so far this year, in those two counties, 118 properties expired. That is just massive. So that was a mouthful. So we're definitely seeing homes sit on the market longer. We're definitely seeing sellers doing massive price adjustments. And then the new construction incentives are creeping back in. So this is not 2021 anymore. The urgency is fading. That does not mean that demand is gone. It just means that you need to be smarter now. So let's talk about new construction here as well too, because that is having an impact on our market as well too. I said there's about 20 neighborhoods under construction. This just like the ranch I'm talking about. I'm not even talking about the rest of the county. And they still have to build. Jessica and I went to a model home yesterday, and I saw something that maybe it's been happening, but I have never, ever, ever seen it in my career. And I'm in real estate now since 2013, so it's going to my 12th year. So builders, for the most part, have always been offering some kind of incentive. Now, the incentives they're offering now, I'm going to show you some of them. They're offering rate buy downs. I've seen interest rates offered at like 4.25%, which is insane because considering the interest rates, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. The interest rates currently so far today, 6.87. 6.87%. So builders are offering interest rates as low as 4.25%. I'm seeing them offering up to like $75,000 towards closing costs. Anyway, they're offering all sorts of incentive. But what we saw yesterday blew my mind. And again, drop a comment down below if you've seen that anywhere. Certainly in Lakewood Ranch, I have not seen it, which is discounting their prices. It's always been known that you can negotiate with home builders, but never on the price. But we got a full price sheet, and it was like slash, 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 slash. And some of the home prices, now these were townhomes. Actually, even the single-family homes in this neighborhood were in the $200,000 range in Lakewood Ranch, brand new. It's like 1,300 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths. But hey, I mean, if you want to get a starter home in the $200,000 range, that's incredible. Now in Lakewood Ranch, you can get houses up to $1 million. What else you got for me, Newton? I see dozens and dozens of new houses being built in the oddest of places. No busy highways. When 2 blocks away, there's a undeveloped lot. Yeah, go figure. It's a visibility thing. Yeah, got to buy the land on busy highways. Yeah, for sure. We're seeing that too. All right, so I digress. Oh, so the new construction incentives. All right, so before I get into that one, I want to talk about something that I've been trying to get away to have an intelligent conversation because I get it. There's a lot of divisiveness going on. So when you hear that Canadians are leaving, or when you hear that people are not moving to Florida, you can understand when people are like, fine, get out of here. Because traffic, quite honestly, sucks. When you have 300,000 people move to Florida, the infrastructure is just not there for it. Now, Lakewood Ranch is doing a pretty good job of putting infrastructure, but the traffic just sucks. So I can understand when people are like, fine, get out of here. But the real question is, and this is where I want to have an intelligent conversation that is not based on opinions or your feelings, but based on facts. If fewer people move here, if Canadians are selling their properties, who is going to keep the local businesses afloat? Not a rhetorical question, an actual question, because I can tell you right now, none of my friends are driving to Siesta Key to go eat at the mom and pop restaurants. Those tend to be visitor focused, right? They're not booking the Airbnbs or the hotels near the beach on Siesta Key or Lido Key or St. Armand Circle or Anna Maria Island. Are you going to go there? So what is the game plan to make sure that those businesses don't fail? Because for the most part, those are local owned mom and pop shops. I'm not talking about chains, although the chains hire local people as well too. They're going to be impacted as well too. So are you ready to support our local economy if that grows? It's easy to say just leave until your job or your home value is affected. Now, again, I've tested this out on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. The amount of people who were able to respond back with an intelligent response was few and far between. I'm going to say less than 5% because most of them, and granted, it's social media, there's a lot of trolls who are like, fine, just get the hell out of here. We don't need you. Less people, the better. And again, that sounds great. But what's the real plan? I mean, are we going to just wait for prices and the rates to drop before making a move, before you buy a place? because otherwise they're just sitting on the market. Just so you know, those two things rarely happen together: prices dropping and rates dropping at the same time. And what are we going to do about the special assessments and the rising homeowners associations? Now, say what you want about our governor. He is trying to get rid of that property tax. Is it going to go through? I don't know. I mean, but he's doing that because he understands completely that Florida residents are hurting and in trouble. And of course, getting rid of the property tax certainly would help financially, but there's got to be more than that one. That condo prices that's happening, that is real. That's not, I'm not even a commercial real estate agent, but I can also tell you that the commercial real estate agents, not only in Florida, in the country, is ready for something massive. Because one, people are not going to work from home. So there are a ton of office buildings all throughout the country, not just in Florida, but a lot in Florida, that are sitting empty. And from my understanding, again, I'm not a commercial real estate agent, but a lot of those were purchased or refinanced during the pandemic. And because interest rates were so low, I guess there are a lot of balloon payments that are about to come, meaning that those interest rates for those commercial buildings are going to jump up. Now, a lot of those are empty. So what happens? Do those people default? It's possible they might default. So then you have empty buildings in default. It is a massive area. So is Florida changing for better, for worse? Drop those comments down below because I want to open this up and I want to hear from you. Should we worry about the shift, or is this just going to be kind of a normal transition? So look, I'm not here to sell you on Florida or bash it, but I am here to say that this stuff kind of matters, because the moment we stop paying attention is the moment that we lose control of the story. And if we are not asking better questions now, we are going to pay for it later. So we can't ignore what is happening in the state. It affects all of us. The question is, what are we actually going to do about it? So we need manufacturing to complement our tourism. The idea is we can't have both. Does it make sense? Yeah, that is true. I mean, I don't know a lot about manufacturing, generally speaking, but I'm not sure there's a whole lot of products being manufactured in the state of Florida. And again, that is not specifically to our current Governor DeSantis. That has always been an issue with the state of Florida. Their priority has been attracting retirees, which is great for, like I said, great for a whole ton of reasons. But we need young people to move to the state. We need young families to move to the state. We need young people from Florida not to graduate and move to another state because they can't find jobs that are not based around tourism or retail. Don't get me wrong, I worked retail and restaurant my entire life. But even that, finding people who can afford to live in Florida and even work in a restaurant is tough. So that's why I want to try to have a intelligent conversation. What do we do about it? That's not a rhetorical question. What do we do about it? Do we reach out to our government? I think some of it is the Florida Chamber of Commerce, who spends a ton of money on advertising to come visit Florida, advertising to come move to Florida. But those are not, and which is interesting too, because we are a Republican state. And again, this is not really a political conversation, but Republicans tend to be very business focused. So I don't understand why we are not really focusing our attention on getting bigger businesses, tech businesses, to move to the state to kind of help with the job market. So I know I kind of got off the track a little bit about our migration boom losing steam, but it is a massive issue here. It is a huge issue, and just expressing your opinions and your feelings are certainly fine. You're entitled to your opinions. You're entitled to your feelings. But I'm sticking with facts at the moment. Like, what do we do if all these people are moving? If our prices are too high, if our insurance is too high, if our HOA fees are too high, if our taxes are too high. We didn't even talk about taxes, right? Those prices went up for your house, which sounds fantastic if you're a seller, but then they get reassessed and your taxes go up. So all of those things are having an impact on the state, right? Less people moving here, prices going up. What do we do? So I'm going to leave it right there. Drop those comments down below as well too. By the way, before I get you out of here, we do have 2 YouTube channels. The one you're currently watching right now, 941 Lifestyle Group. Do us a big favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop your comment down below. It does great for the YouTube algorithm. They show it to more people. We can have more people in the conversation. But then we have a second channel down below, 941 Premier Home Tours. If there's somebody who likes videos showing homes, we probably have, I don't know, a couple hundred videos, primarily in Lakewood Ranch, all the new models. Some of them are our listings, some of them are other real estate agents' listings. So, but if you want to see cool houses, that's the channel for you. Go check them out. If you're catching this on the replay, still drop those comments down below. We want to know where you're watching from. What are your questions? What's your thoughts? Appreciate you watching. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll talk to you soon, everybody.